Select those of the PFC Entertainment Network or any of the affiliates that make this show possible.
This is the Pure Fury Creations Entertainment Network.
Detroit Red Wings are done for the season. What's next? Meanwhile, the Detroit Pistons are preparing for their playoff push. And the latest news in and around the NFL as Cody and Isaac join the show on the Sports Reel podcast right now.
If it's in the headlines, on the first page or the last, it's fair game here on the Sports Reel podcast.
And we do welcome you to the reason why Tuesdays were invented. You are watching the Sports Reel podcast live on the PFC Entertainment Network, along with Tim Sheridan, Eric Mendal. I'm Jason Clouse. We certainly appreciate you tuning in here. Just a moment, we're going to be bringing in some very special guests, friends of the show at this point, for what we like to call another all-star edition of the program here. But before we get to all that, Tim, good to see you. How's things?
Excellent. Tired, very tired. A lot of running still. Just got back from the golf range with Chase, which I actually partook in today myself personally, because I went golfing earlier today and realized I suck at golf. So I needed to put in some extra work.
Shocker.
Well, last year when I finished, I was doing pretty damn good. Now I suck. So, and I got my league started here in like 2 weeks, and I don't want to look like a total idiot. I just want to be like a tiny idiot when I'm out there playing, so I had to put in some work, so yeah, no, other than that, I'm good. I'm real good, Jason. I'm just,
Great.
Yeah. I need more beer though. So I'm going to be quiet for a little bit and just pound a couple of these beers to get in the mood.
Understood. Eric, good to see you, man. How's things?
You didn't drink any beer when you were there?
I don't drink when I golf.
Probably do better, but I'm pretty good, Jason. Another good work day. Had some things I had to handle yesterday, so missed work, but happy we're here. Happy we got two of the friends of the show on, and can't wait to get into the sports and really just talk about what's going on.
Two of our favorites here, among our favorites here on the Sports Reel podcast, are joining us in studio with Tim and Eric, the host of Catching Up with Cody. He is Cody. So, hey, man, it's good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you guys again for having me on. I was super excited to be on again and can't wait to talk sports, and for sure the Pistons. That's going to be my favorite thing to talk about today.
We're also going to be diving into quite a bit of NFL talk, especially as we are inching ever so closer to the draft. And joining us for his expertise in that, the host of the Fun Football Podcast, Isaac. It's great to have you back on the show, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. This is going to be fun. Draft's coming up in a little over a week. This is going to be a good one. And with the NBA playoffs starting, that's always fun too.
Well, let's go ahead and start with the unfortunate elephant in the room this week. Eric, I've been very much looking forward.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, you do. Listen, it's a bitter pill to swallow. But we do have to address the elephant in the room, and that is, unfortunately, the Detroit Red Wings have officially been eliminated from the possibility of being in the playoffs this year. Let's take a look back last week, what they did. It was not, I mean, we saw pretty much very early on in this portion of their schedule, it just was not going to happen, man. Like I pretty much had lost all faith, if I could be honest with you. A shootout loss to Columbus on Tuesday. Thursday, this was the one shining moment of the week, a 6-3 win over the Flyers. Saturday, dropping one to New Jersey, 5-3, and then last night in overtime, a 4-3 loss to the Tampa Bay Lightning. One game remains here, Eric, Wednesday against the Florida Panthers, but at this point, who gives a shit, right? I mean,
you go out with a win. You at least got to go out with a win. You got 94 points right now, I believe so, and that should be enough to make the playoffs. But you're in such, if you're in the West, you'd have enough to make the playoffs. But They jump to the East where it's a little bit stronger and all that, and it's showing, and they missed the playoffs for the 10th year in a row, and something needs to happen. Does that C got to get ripped off of Larkin's chest? Does Eisman got to be fired? I don't know. Something's got to happen. He's a good hockey player, but I don't think he's a good captain.
Larkin you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
Interesting take, and I feel like I'm hearing that more and more often.
Look at Eisman when he took over. He became captain second year in, and he's got 3 cups, and he played for us for 22 years.
No, listen, and that's what I'm having. I find myself having a difficult time having intelligent conversations with people about the Detroit Red Wings.
Because people don't pay attention to it.
No, they're looking at surface level here. And look, I understand at this point we can make an argument. Steve Yzerman is on the hot seat like that. Like his ass is warming up right now.
I really don't think it is. I really don't think it is, though.
I mean, but a lot of this does go back to the players that we have on this team, the ones that we sat here last week and said, these guys are moving around the ice like they've got boulders in their britches. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Where is that sense of urgency? It was not there. You would think coming into this last week, man, like we would have seen the best version of the Detroit Red Wings. We did not even close to it. So
No.
what do we do here, Eric? Is it a personnel thing on the ice? Is it upper management? Is it the coaching staff? What do we do here?
Well, if you look at it and you look at the success of the Red Wings, what I can, in my lifetime is you had a couple of star players, you had, a lot of really good players. Right now they have a few good players. They don't have a star player. They don't have, when you don't have a star player, you need a lot of good players. They have some. They don't have a lot.
Right.
So either you need to bring up some of the guys from the Griffins that have been playing good and see if they can mesh with the guys we have right now, or you got to go out and get a superstar. One of the two.
Look, man, you got to do something here. You got to do something because, I mean, this is like the second or third year in a row where we've come up literally to the last week just barely hanging on. And it's like, come on, man, what are we doing here? Why is you made, in my estimation, the most definitive statement of the show last week. And that was ripping Hockeytown off the ice at Little Caesars Arena.
Yeah,
and I never thought I would ever hear you say that.
We're not. If you look at how we've been playing, you look how we're coached, it's not Hockeytown anymore. You want to get it back. Yeah, I get the fans wanting it back. Trust me, I want it back too. But you got to be a reason to be Hockeytown.
100%. Hey, Cody, have you been paying attention to what the Red Wings are doing, and what's your opinion here?
Yeah, I have. And honestly, I'm going to agree with Eric. I mean, the Griffins are so good. So start bringing some of those young guys up. And, if they mesh, fine. If they don't, and I've been thinking that for the last couple of years that, like, if we bring these guys in, maybe they'll give us that push to get into that, the playoffs, the wild card and everything like that. But these guys, it doesn't look like they care. It just looks like, and I think Todd McCullough said this earlier, and he was like, they're just jerseys on the ice skating around.
100%.
Yeah, I don't think any of them really care, and I don't know if that starts with Yzerman and everybody. If they're, if they're not putting in the effort, why would the players? But something's definitely got to change here because, 10 years of not making the playoffs after 25 straight years of being in the playoffs is not, for any team, it's not good. And especially Hockey Town. How do we call ourselves Hockey Town when hockey hasn't been played in the playoffs in over 10 years?
That was the first source of contention between Eric and I, because I have felt that way for probably the last 6 or 7 years. Like, this is not Hockey Town, and it has not been Hockey Town. And when Eric joined the show and we first started talking about hockey, like, he was adamant. He was like, no, this is Hockey Town. Detroit is Hockey Town. And I understood where he was coming from. But based on what Hockey Town is supposed to be, and based on what it was when the Detroit Red Wings, for a quarter of a century straight, were a cornerstone of the NHL playoffs. That was one of those things that was a guaranteed death and taxes, and the Detroit Red Wings were going in the fucking playoffs. Like, that was just all there was to it. Now, here we are, and we're looking at this team, and it is eerily reflective of the Dead Wings era in the 80s and going into the early 90s. And even when they made the finals in 95 against the Devils, like, I sat, like, everybody around me, oh, the Red Wings are going to win. I'm like, no, the fuck they're not. They're not ready to be here. They earned that spot, but they're not ready to be champions. Nothing against Yzerman, because he was the one really holding everything, trying to hold everything as one unit. And, I can only imagine what he feels. Like, I legitimately feel like his heart is broken, because he cares about this franchise. It's what made him who he is. And I just, oh man, it's so frustrating, because like, I knew we were heading this way, but it wasn't until I saw Eric's video on TikTok where they just really sank in. I'm like, man, piss on all of this. Like, what do we, like, just throw a bomb in there and just blow the whole thing up and let's start from scratch. Because how frustrating it is. Are they the worst team in the NHL? No, they're not. But god damn it, man. Like, there's no reason why we should be at this spot having this conversation right now. Isaac, have you been following this at all?
No, not really, but I was reading on the Red Wings I'm not a huge hockey guy. I like going in person, but I did mainly just do football, a little bit of golf, and a little basketball. But it is sad. I remember hearing about the Red Wings when I lived in Detroit. It is a little sad, the state of affairs now. It's kind of like, it's nice the Pistons are actually back, because I think I wish the Bulls could get there too, if they could ever get rid of Reinsdorf. But I think certain sports are better when certain teams are good. Like, baseball's better when the Yankees are good and the Red Sox and a few other teams. Hockey's better when the Red Wings are good. I think the NBA is better when you've got the Lakers and Celtics and the Bulls and the Pistons. When you get at least 3 of those teams actually as contenders. It's sad that the Red Wings are here. They're going to have to make some actual, like, serious changes. You shouldn't go over a decade without making the playoffs. Not when you're the Red Wings. It just doesn't make any sense, man. It just doesn't.
Yeah, you gotta look at. Go ahead, Isaac. Go ahead.
No, it's just like, this feels like this shouldn't be hard for a team that was, is known for, like, you think of hockey, that's one of the first teams you think of. This is not that hard. I don't think it is anyways, but it seems like it is for them. So I hope they make some real changes. It's time.
Well, I'm gonna wrap it up, and Jason, you might be able to agree with me and all that. You win this last game. You at least would leave with some momentum. Granted, you didn't make the playoffs. 94 points, if not more, should make the playoffs. But you're in the East. You're in a very tough division. You're in the very tough division, tough conference. You got to make some changes. It's either got to be the jerseys on the ice, or Yzerman's got to have a conversation with the Ilitches and figure it out. Other than that, you got some good players. You can't get rid of them. I don't think it's, you just bomb the whole thing and rebuild, but you definitely got to add. You either got to get someone that can help out a lot, like a superstar, or you got to get some more good players that can mesh well with the good players we got, and you got to get somewhere next year.
Well, if the playoffs were to start here today, this is what it would look like. In the Western Conference, the Colorado Avalanche would meet the Los Angeles Kings. Dallas would meet the Minnesota Stars. Las Vegas and Utah would square off, and then Edmonton and Anaheim. On the eastern side of things, Buffalo and Boston, which is going to be a tremendous series. Tampa Bay Lightning and Montreal. Either one of those teams make a legitimate claim to advance to the finals. Carolina and Ottawa, if this is what winds up happening, I fully expect the Panthers to advance. Now, the series that I am most looking forward to in this would be Pittsburgh and the Flyers. You're talking about, with Las Vegas and Utah is like, okay, they're kind of the wild cards in all of this. We've seen what Vegas has done in the past, coming out of nowhere, among their inception into the NHL, and very quickly winning the cup. Utah is looking to follow suit here, so they're kind of the wild card.
I'm just happy Utah and Las Vegas, some of the two earliest teams, are playing each other in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And it looks like Edmonton might have a shot because I don't see Florida in the mix.
No way, bro. No way.
You barely know anything about hockey.
They don't have a pope.
Welcome back, Tim.
I want to see McDavid get a trophy, or his cup, because he being there 2 years in a row and losing it twice. You deserve one, man. He's a good. He's one of the best players, but. The NHL playoffs will definitely be interesting. I'm definitely going to tune in and see who can make that run. And honestly, I wish the Wings would have went after Quentin Hughes, because look at him. He went to Minnesota and he turned that team around. Who said he couldn't have did that in Detroit? That's all I'm saying. Granted, his contract's up in I think like a year and a half. So yeah, maybe go get him, but you should have pushed for him hard.
All right. Let's get done with all this depressing ass fucking NHL talk, and let's at least talk about the NBA real quick before we move into my favorite subject, which is the fucking NFL, which is the most important sport in all of America.
I thought that was
Shut
golf.
the fuck up.
I thought that was golf.
Golf will end the show with golf this week.
I thought that was your favorite sport.
Oh, football's my favorite sport.
Okay.
I like playing golf because I'm too old and broken and I can't play football. They don't have football leagues for 42-year-old fat guys.
There's a 6-year-old guy trying to go play college football right now. Read that today.
I did read that. That's actually pretty impressive.
Okay, but continue.
Yeah, so let's get on with the NBA here, Jason, because that's at least something positive to look at in the city of Detroit. Anyways, is the NBA.
Well, you're right, and that is positive. And the Pistons had an amazing week last week. They went 3-0. Wednesday, 137 to 111 over the Milwaukee Bucks. Friday, a 118-100 win over the Charlotte Hornets. And then a 133-121 win over the Indiana Pacers. That sealed the deal for the Pistons. Now they await their first round opponent in the playoffs this Sunday. They will open the series at home. But the NBA now incorporates this play-in tournament, so that we will not know for a couple of days who the Pistons will be matched up against in the first round. The way things are set up right now in the East, the Miami Heat and the Charlotte Hornets will be playing on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday, the Orlando Magic will play the 76ers. For the West, Portland, Phoenix, Golden State, and the Clippers will be playing in their conferences playing tournament. As things stand right now with the playoffs, number 3 New York is slated to play number 6 Atlanta, and then it will be Toronto and Cleveland on the western side, as Oklahoma City and San Antonio await their opponents in the first round. Denver and Minnesota will square off, as will the Lakers, and the Houston Rockets. So you kind of have a whole batch of different teams here. You've got your cornerstones, you've got some new talent in there. This year's playoff bracket for the NBA is probably one of the more exciting ones in recent years, in my view. Tim, what's your take on this?
Sorry, what did you ask? I'm in the chats right now, so
I'll step in because I was listening because Tim's not a good host right now.
Sorry.
I think Atlanta's going to upset the Knicks. They got hot at the right time, and I think they're going to keep it going. I think they're going to upset the Knicks. I really do. The Knicks are not as good as everyone says they are.
Yeah, I just feel like the Knicks, though, in the playoffs are always
they're deadly. They're deadly, but I don't think they're going to be. Atlanta got hot. Atlanta got hot, and they won 10 in a row at one point. I'm like, they could get some. You steal one in New York, you have a very good chance.
Yeah. All right.
What would you say, Isaac? You pay attention to basketball. How do you feel about that take?
The Hawks did get better, especially after they traded Trae Young away. It seemed like it was like a culture blip for them, and New York has had issues. It's possible. It definitely is. I would still pick New York. I think that they're like, if they don't get to at least the conference championship, some heads are going to roll. And they've already let go of Thibodeau, but they're going to make some bigger changes. And I think they might need to, because while I really love Brunson, he's a little smaller. And I just don't think Cat is conducive to winning playoff series. I just don't. Karl Anthony Towns, as much as he's a fun player on offense, but he's, as good as he is on that side of the ball, it's not nearly good enough to make up for some of his defensive deficiencies. And Mitchell Robinson just really struggled against Atlanta this year. I still like New York. I don't think they're going anywhere in the second or third round. I think Boston's you guys are going to hate this take. I think Boston's going to take Detroit out and go to the finals. I mean, seriously, unless Tatum is just awful, but they've been damn good even without him. And now you just add him, and he's been pretty solid.
Okay, but what about when we lost Cade, and then our bench and everyone stepped up, and we still were winning games though. Now we get him back, and so
but you're definitely gonna need Cade to be balling in the playoffs. I think Detroit's got a really good chance. I like their defense. I just think Boston's ceiling might be a little higher, but Boston's playing with house money. Nobody even thought they were going to be past the play-in before the season. And then Jaylen Brown turned in an MVP season. But I love what Detroit's doing. They're ahead of schedule. They play tough-nosed defense. This is very much like the Detroit teams of old. I think they could take Boston out. I think that's going to be a hell of a series.
That will go to Game 7 for sure. That will be a Game 7 series.
Yeah, I don't see anybody else in the East being scary. I don't believe in Toronto. I like what Atlanta's done, but I can't see them winning more than one series. Maybe they upset New York. I don't believe in Cleveland because they have James Harden, and
he don't play defense. He doesn't play defense.
He doesn't even play, and he's old. And he was bad in the playoffs when he was younger. It's not going to get better for him.
That's fair.
Miami's kind of fun, but I mean, the team I think that nobody would want to play is Charlotte. Of those play-in teams, I don't believe in Philly. I don't believe in Orlando at all. I think Charlotte, of those 4 play-ins, is the only one that has any chance of maybe stealing a series. But the playoffs are always weird. There could be an upset in the first round. I think this year's going to kind of play out as expected. I think you're going to end up with maybe just one upset in the entire first round in either conference, honestly. I think it's going to be OKC and San Antonio rolling, and I think the Lakers are the only team that could get beat, but they're not even the favorites because they're missing Luka and Reeves, because that's one of my teams. Denver, if Denver can't take out Minnesota, that's a problem. Minnesota's tough, but they should be able to take them.
You only got Edwards though in Minnesota.
Yeah, that's it. Minnesota's not much. On that side, those play-in teams are even in worse shape to me. Like the Clippers, everyone thinks is scary. I don't see it. Portland's ahead of schedule. I like Phoenix, but if any of those teams were able to upset, I'd be shocked if OKC or San Antonio got upset. I actually am kind of starting to think there's a chance that Wemby could take that team to the finals.
Oh, 100%.
Like, I think as good as OKC is, and I'd bet on them, I think we're going to get Boston, OKC, or Boston, San Antonio. I would love to see Detroit make it, but that's what I'm thinking. The only other team that maybe if Jokic goes nuts, but I just don't think he's got, I don't know. They've been on a roll, though. They've won 12 straight. I just think San Antonio and OKC are kind of in this class, hovering above the rest of the NBA. And I kind of feel like the Western Conference Finals is the NBA Finals this year. Whoever wins OKC San Antonio is going to win the finals.
And San Antonio is one of those scary ones for me.
Yeah.
If the Pistons make it, Wemby tears them up. Dude.
It's all in the paint. It's all in the paint.
And I don't know if the Pistons are going to make it. I'm not going to say that. I can see your point about Boston. Like they're getting healthy right at the right time and they're getting hot. You know what I mean? That's going to be a tough team and it's going to go to a game 7 and it could go either way. You know what I mean?
The only thing you got is the game 7 is going to be in Detroit.
Yeah.
You got to steal 1 or 2 in the Garden. If you can win 1 or 2 in the Garden, you have a chance.
Yeah. And it's
at least 1.
Yeah. And there's a possibility. Would I be sad if they didn't make it this year to the finals? No, I just want to see them go deeper than they did last year, and they're on the right path at that point. You know what I mean? You can't expect. 2 seasons ago they were one of the worst teams in the NBA, and now all of a sudden, they're the number 1 seed.
They led the conference all year.
Now, granted, it is a soft conference. The East is soft compared to the West. We've been talking about that all season. I've been saying all season long that I wanted to see these Western Conference matchups against the Pistons, so I can kind of see what the Pistons really are. And they've done generally pretty well, except when they got to San Antonio or the Clippers. The Clippers have kind of had their number all season too.
That's true too.
It would be kind of cool on the Eastern Conference side to see the possibility of maybe like a Pistons Charlotte with all that, I mean, they were getting into fights down on the court last time. There was a lot of heat between those two teams. So that'd be kind of fun to watch, a nice series against those two. But I don't think it's going to go that far. Like you said, I don't think Charlotte's going to go that deep into this thing. But I'm more worried about, if a possibility came down of, a Pistons versus San Antonio in the finals, because
you gotta figure something out.
Yeah. I just don't see the Pistons mashing up well against San Antonio. Now, if they had to play Golden State, they beat Golden State this year.
Or OKC.
Or OKC. That's the one I was leaning towards. Sorry. They've beaten, if they got OKC in the finals, they've beaten OKC. You know what I mean? But they don't do well against Wemby. That guy's a fucking alien. That's all I got to say. He is an absolute monster out there, and you can't get by him. I think Zach's in the chat. Zach had done a whole video about, or had posted something at one time about getting some of his blood to test him for alien DNA or some shit. Which I thought was pretty funny because, he is an alien. But, that would be the matchup. But right now, I think the Pistons are sitting pretty good. Zach had made a comment about they don't get past the second round in the playoffs, and I think you're full of it there, Zach. I think they get past the second round in the playoffs.
I just kind of glanced over at some of the bullshit that he's putting on here. And it's really taking everything I've got, not to just open up and cut a promo on them. Be that as it may, here's the only thing. I mean, we could sit here for hours and just talk about the Detroit Pistons or the NBA playoffs. And look, here's the thing: people are going to have a different opinion based on who they like, who they don't like, who they favor, who they and the other ones just look at straight stats and look, whatever. However, doesn't matter. As long as you enjoy the game, that's all that fucking matters at the end of the day. What I will say is this, and it's kind of leading into a couple of things that I glanced at that Zach had said on here. There is a strong contingent of people who still do not take the Detroit Pistons very seriously. And for those people, I feel like the table is set to you're going to wind up eating a big old shit burger if the Pistons are firing on all the cylinders that we have watched every single game this year. And here's my argument. In every loss to a Piston, every Pistons loss to a Western Conference team this year, including San Antonio Spurs, including the Oklahoma City Thunder, including the Denver Nuggets, all these powerhouses. The Pistons have been within a shot of winning that. They were still in that game. Not a lot of teams, including the Boston fucking Celtics, can say that. And I'm not even talking about when their roster was depleted earlier in the season. I'm talking fucking recently. Now, I'm not sitting here and saying the Detroit Pistons are going to win the 2026 NBA championship. I'm not saying that. I can't say that because we don't know who the fuck they're playing in the first round yet. And to tie back into what Isaac was saying, the Charlotte Hornets are going to be the team that we wind up talking about after the playoffs are done as this is a team to watch going into next season. They're going to do something here. I really feel it. Like they're going to be something. And we're on the prefaces of that right now. Now, Boston is the one team I'm concerned about. That is the one team I'm concerned about. But here's the thing. Anybody who thinks that if we get to a Detroit-Boston series, that it's inevitable that the Celtics are winning, fuck right off. Fuck right off. Because that mentality tells me you're not paying attention to a goddamn thing this team has done this year. Straight up. And, I mean, argue with me all you want. But the Pistons, this Pistons team is special this year. And we here in the state of Michigan cannot be more excited about it. Now, Cody, you've been watching this team probably from the start here. As we come into the playoffs, and we can all agree Boston is our main issue here. But is there any other team in the East that you would see could be a threat to the Pistons?
No, I only see Boston being the problem. Kind of piggybacking off what you said, I think a lot of people don't give the Pistons credit because, I mean, we're somewhat of a big market team, but nationally, I don't think a lot of people want to see the Pistons win and be good and everything like that. You know, they're not the Lakers, they're not the Celtics and everything like that. So as far as people not giving the Pistons a chance, I think that's why. And I think they're always going to have an excuse. I mean, for the longest time that I can remember, the East has always been a softer conference. It's always been easier. It's just unfortunately where we land, you know, in the NBA. So I feel like that excuse needs to be thrown out the window. And I do really think that we are a good team. I think, you know, we're a deep team, and we've proven that with Cade being out, with Duran being out. I mean, at one point, I feel like we were playing with bench players for a while there, and we were winning games, and we were holding our own. So, I mean, even if we make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, I think that's a for sure win for the Pistons. But yeah, I'm just worried about Boston only because of the playoff experience that they have had. And I mean, Jason Tatum's just another animal, and so is Jaylen Brown. So, but I'm gonna go with them winning the finals this year. It's gonna be tough because we are gonna get stuck with San Antonio or OKC, but I think this team is deep enough to be able to overcome them.
No, that's kind of where I'm at with it. And I understand where there is a lot of question marks as to how deep are the Detroit Pistons, you know, because we have said for weeks on this show, the national media was very slow to get on the Pistons bandwagon. But now you've got guys, you know, reputable guys like Stephen A. Smith, who spends a 15-minute segment on his show and is praising what this team has become. But make no mistake, when the playoffs start this weekend, it's a whole new season, man. Yeah, like everything else gets wiped clean, and I mean, you got these specific teams are going to be playing to be the best in the NBA. Odds are, yes, it's going to be San Antonio or it's going to be Oklahoma City. That's just the way it is. But what I cannot see for any team here that is going to just steamroll without any kind of opposition to the NBA championship this year. I don't care what the matchup is. This is one of the most competitive and open wide playoff bracket that I've seen in the NBA in quite some time. Just in my estimation.
I can feel you. But anyways, we're getting to that 7:24 mark, and I'm getting pretty excited to talk a little NFL. Does anybody else have anything else to fill in the NBA before we move into the NFL? Because that is what we're here for. The draft is a little bit over a week away.
I agree. The only thing I'm going to add is I think the Spurs and Thunder are going to roll everybody unless Denver steps up or the Lakers get their players back. I think there's a good chance they both sweep in the first round and maybe the second round, unless Denver or, like I said, or the Lakers or maybe Houston. I don't think so though. I think those two teams are going to kill everybody in their path until they play each other. And then the good thing for the East is if they beat the heck out of each other, like if San Antonio and OKC just beat the hell out of each other on the way to a 7-game series, that could benefit Detroit or Boston coming out of the East, or unless it's some shocker. But I don't think there's an Indiana this year, so I think it's going to be one of those two teams. You never know. Maybe Cleveland gets hot. I don't think so though. I just don't see. I think New York is very limited, unfortunately. I don't think they're going anywhere. But unless maybe those two teams beat the hell out of each other and they come out of it banged up and weary, and the East can steal it. That's the one caveat. I think that those two teams are that much better, and I really wouldn't be shocked if they both roll into the conference finals like with one or two losses tops. Denver's the only team I think that can give either of them a run for their money right now because the Lakers are just too banged up. They might not even get by Houston. And I just don't see anybody else in the West, like, at all. I think the East, the bottom seeds are scarier than the West. Like, while I like Phoenix, I think they're going to get crushed. It'd be honorable if they made it a 5-game series against San Antonio or OKC. Portland, to me, is ahead of schedule. The Clippers, maybe 1 game. And Golden State is really in trouble. In the East, I honestly really like Charlotte and Miami. I think they could both win a game against Detroit or Boston. The East is definitely like the bottom is a lot stronger than the West to me this year. But I think Jason nailed it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a ton of fun. So if you had to call it right now, what do you think the actual NBA finals are going to be this year?
I think it's Boston, San Antonio.
I could see that.
I'm really 50-50 on San Antonio OKC. It's just hard to repeat, and it hasn't happened in a minute, and that's the only reason I'm going San Antonio. If OKC hadn't made it, I would slightly edge them over San Antonio, but Wemby's just a beast.
Yeah, he's an alien. Cody, what do you think the finals are going to be this year?
I'm going Detroit and OKC, and I think Detroit's going to pull it off.
Fair enough. Eric?
Nice. I like it.
I'm gonna pick Detroit, and I think Denver's gonna come out of nowhere.
Damn.
I think Denver's gonna come out of nowhere because you can't count them out ever.
Not with Jokic.
Nope, you can't. Because if he gets hot at the right time, which this is now, he can keep it going for a while, and I think he could. He has a very good chance against San Antonio. He has a very good chance against OKC.
I'm gonna pull a Jason right now. And I'm going to say Charlotte, Denver.
I knew you were going to do that, dude. I fucking
Pull the fucking Jason.
Oh, man. That's funny. That is funny. I knew. Tim, as soon as you started setting that up, I'm like, he's going to say Charlotte. I know he fucking is.
Hey, underdogging it. I'm learning from you, brother. Sometimes it fucking works.
Sometimes it does. Look at Rocky Balboa. Wound up becoming the heavyweight champion of the world.
Yes. I mean, it's one of my favorite boxers ever, and he's fictional, but still one of my favorite. Jason, what do you think the finals are going to be?
Detroit and San Antonio.
Okay, I can see that.
I think it's going to be, like, realistically, it's either going to be San Antonio, Boston, or San Antonio, Detroit. I think as much as Zach keeps bringing up, Detroit's not making it that far. And I know earlier on when we've had him on, early in the season, he was talking New York was going to get there and beat the Pistons. Like, Zach, the Pistons have owned New York all season.
I mean, they
long.
really have.
I'm not worried about New York one bit. But there are other teams that I am worried about. The Cavs being one of them because we are 1-3 against the Cavs this season. Boston, another tough team. Even to get Charlotte in that mix, Charlotte's we've been back and forth with them. You know what I mean? It's a tough road still. Even the East is weak compared to the West. It's still a tough road to the finals. So it's, it could go either way, you know what I mean? But I do want to see the Pistons in the final. So I will pick, honestly, I'm not picking Charlotte. I'm going to go San Antonio Pistons. And I think that's Detroit's kryptonite right there. I think San Antonio wins it all this year. So other than that, let's move on to a little bit of NFL action because we got the draft coming up here in a little bit over a week. I think it's next Thursday?
First round, yeah. First round next week.
Next Thursday. And Zach, by the way, yes, if you listen back to last week's show, we were talking about doing a draft special next Thursday on last week's show. So I wasn't bullshitting you there in the chats at all. Like, Scott backed me up. We were talking about that. But anyways, Isaac, we were talking before the show started, and you were talking about your beloved Packers there and how you have not been happy with them. And I said, save it for the show, man. Just save it for the show. Because there's nothing that gets me happier than hearing somebody bitch about the Packers, let alone.
Well, it wasn't the worst offseason. I just don't understand when you go for Josh Jacobs 2 years ago and McKinney, and then last year in the draft, you go and get a receiver in the first round. They had a decent offseason otherwise. But then you go for Matthew Golden and you draft another receiver early. So you're more aggressive. You're more all in. Then you trade for Micah Parsons. If that isn't an all in move after their free agency the year before in 25 and 24 and the draft last year, I just don't understand some of the moves this offseason. Now, they could still have a really good draft. And I think people have forgotten they're going to get Micah back sometime this year. Tucker Kraft, probably their best offensive weapon, if not Jacobs. And they're going to get their best defensive lineman back in Wyatt. So that's like addition by subtraction right there. That's going to be huge. But I was totally fine with cutting Nate Hobbs. That was a bad signing last year. I'm not upset about that. I'm not really upset about losing Wicks. Dubs is replaceable to me too, but then you start just collecting all these guys. Walker, good pass protector, terrible run blocker. They got older on the defensive line. Hargrave could end up being better than Wooden, but he was pretty solid. I'm not too upset about losing Quay Walker. I like Franklin, but they got older. I don't think they really got that much worse, but they had some money. I'd like to see them make a move. I would frankly be okay with trading the second round pick for an asset now. I know they're probably not going to do it, but I'm tired of being the 7th seed. I'd like to be a little aggressive. I think Chicago is gettable. I think the Lions, no offense, guys, I think they're on the downslide. Minnesota, good luck with Kyler Murray. Good luck with Kyler Murray. I'm moving to Arizona soon, and they are ecstatic that Kyler Murray is gone. Now, for a $1 million deal, sorry, I'm getting over a cold. On a $1 million deal, that's a bargain, even for him. But once Call of Duty comes out, Kyler Murray he's just physically not built for the NFL. Every year, the guy is faded in November and December and January. Every single year. If he can't make it work in Minnesota, he's done because you've got all the weapons you could possibly need there. I think Minnesota and Detroit are going to be fighting for third place. I think it's going to come down to Green Bay, Chicago. I'd like to get aggressive here because Chicago's defense is not that great, and I still think we could get them. We had them when we had Micah. I'd like to go out there and go be aggressive and get a receiver or corner or an edge rusher. If they don't trade the picks, that's what I'm hoping they do in the draft. But there's some rumors out there about like a Marvin Harrison Jr. Why not? Like, he's been a disappointment in Arizona, but most players have, and I'd love to see a change of scenery to see if he could do it. But I think they're hoping that the youth like Matthew Golden and some of the other guys, take over. I think they're still destined for the playoffs. Not sure what the Lions are doing either. Honestly, a lot of the teams in the division had bad off seasons. Like Chicago didn't do a lot, Green Bay didn't do a lot, Detroit lost some pieces. Montgomery, I'm not sure about that one. I think that was a mistake. They've got to fix that offensive line.
I agree with you 100% on that one.
Detroit's like, man, you've got a stationary quarterback in Goff. You got to protect this guy, or you're in big freaking trouble. Because last year, I mean, stats wise, he's looked good, but I'm sorry, he still turns into a pumpkin when he gets hit. I really kind of think this division's up for grabs. I think Chicago's going to slide a little. I think 11 wins could get this division. I think it's going to be really interesting. I think there's a scenario that all 4 teams finish with 9 to like 11 wins. No joke. I think that's what's going to happen.
I could get behind that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
it's a good division. Like unless Minnesota falls apart, but last year they were 9-8, and Detroit was 9-8. The Packers were 9-7-1. Everybody was right there, and then there was Chicago. And unless Caleb takes like a leap, I think that they've still got some holes, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And I think this division's very gettable. I really do.
I do too. Jason, you got to highlight Amy's last comment there because that had me.
Yeah, shut up, Amy.
That's my wife there. She's talking shit. To you.
Yeah. Well, you know what? This is just bitter Lions fans. They want to go back to their glory days of winning the NFC North once. So,
Oh, hold on. We won it twice in a row. I got the hats.
He's got hats. Trust me, we heard about
hats.
that. He's got hats.
In a row. I got hats.
We can play the clip.
Okay, you got 2. Okay, you got 2.
But no, I'm right there with you, man. I think that the Lions scare me with the offseason moves. I don't think that they did enough. I was really hoping for, with Decker asking to be released, you know what I mean? Although he hasn't been picked up by anybody because nobody wants to cross or go down that road apparently right now. So with Decker being released, we're still short a tackle. And I didn't mind the Cade Mays signing at center, you know what I mean? His run block grades are really, really well, or his pass defense grades are really, really well. His run block grades are not as good, but I think that they can turn that around this season. And I wasn't as upset with the Montgomery. I was upset losing Montgomery in a sense, but I was happy for him, you know what I mean? Because he deserved to go and be RB1 somewhere, and he was never going to be RB1 behind Gibbs, you know what I mean? Like, Jahmyr Gibbs has just stepped up, and he was really good.
It's Sonic and Knuckles, though, man. It took the pressure. Gibbs is good enough. You could just run him, but it's nice to have 2 guys in the NFL now. I think people think the running game has disappeared, but it's actually made a huge resurgence.
It has.
I thought he added a lot of identity to the team. And I think you guys will miss him, but I get it. I get it.
I at the same time, because obviously, I mean, you've been on the show plenty of times. I'm also a Chiefs fan, so I've been watching Pacheco since the beginning of his career. And I was happy to grab Pacheco. Like I called out on this podcast before that even happened.
Do you think he has juice left? He looks like he's reminding me like Marion Barber. I'm worried his legs are just already gone.
I
like
think
he's been banged up, man.
Yeah, he's been banged up, but he was also playing for a team that's just a very pass-heavy offense. I mean, you got Mahomes, you know what I mean? So, and now he's coming into a team that is very run-orientated. You know what I mean? They really push the run because it sets up play action and everything else. So if they can build this line right, I think that Pacheco is going to actually have the best year of his career because he's that type of runner that can run up the middle. He can find those holes, you know what I mean? And he's a downhill runner and he's strong. He doesn't get enough credit. Like watching him on the Chiefs, he wasn't in a situation where he could really shine in that offense. And now he's going to be in a situation where he'll actually have the ability to shine as long as they build this line right. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm worried about. I think the middle of the line is fine. I'm worried about tackles right now. And it all is going to come down to this draft that's coming here pretty soon. In the first round, if they can snag themselves a tackle. Now, snagging a tackle at 17, I don't know who's going to be left on that board at 17, who's going to be worth picking up if they go that route. But Brad Holmes has fucking blew our minds before when we thought we needed offensive line help, and he drafted a fucking running back. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know which direction they're going to go yet. So
It's just you gotta. That was your identity. You got to get back to beating people up. You've got to get back to beating people at the line of scrimmage, and that's where Green Bay was actually excelling last year, was with that pass rush. That was our strength when we had Micah, and in this division, Chicago's trying to beat that up too. That's where you guys were winning, and last year that was weirdly where you guys kind of lost. So like, I don't know. I'm looking at the moves. Do you guys think like? Do you expect Scruggs to play and Mays?
I expect Mays to play. I think he's going to be the starting center. To be honest,
Scruggs just going to be depth.
I think he's going to be
picked him up in that. They picked him up in that Montgomery trade, and then they picked up Bloom as well. So you guys just need a couple. You need a tackle big time. But do you think if they land the tackle, do you think the line will be a strength, or do you think it'll be just kind of serviceable again?
I think it'll be a strength if they can land a tackle. I think it'll go back to being a strength because, I mean, rumor on the street right now is they plan on moving Panay to left tackle, which was his natural position in college. You know what I mean? He never played right tackle until he came to the Lions. So he was always a left tackle. And, I mean, he was arguably the best right tackle in the league over the last few seasons. So if he can go over to left tackle and shine just as well there, that's going to give Goff so much more time. You know what I mean? Like, his blind side is protected to that point because he has one of the best tackles in the league protecting him. You know what I mean? So it's going to give him a little bit more time. It's going to offer him a little bit, you know, he's going to look better this year, I believe, just with that. But it also depends, you know, if they can grab a right tackle. Now, I don't know if anybody else, I see Eric, like.
I'm just paying attention.
Cody, you got anything to fill in?
I've heard a lot of rumors of them trading up a little bit in the draft.
That could be, but I don't know.
I've heard that one, or trading down. I've heard about that one too.
I've heard trading down too. It's Brad Holmes in the draft. He's going to make some moves. He's going to do something crazy. He's going to trade up or he's going to trade down.
Yeah.
My other question is can they get this defense right? Because they haven't been healthy and the defense has just really fallen off. Last year, losing the two coordinators was the thing that hurt you guys the most. I think we talked about this last time, but you know, you've got big pieces with Gibbs, Laporta. You've obviously got, I think Laporta. You got the edge rusher. Huh?
I think Laporta's going to be gone in the draft. I think you're going to trade him to move up to get your tackle.
I actually wouldn't be surprised.
Because you got so many people you got to sign, and you got to get rid of someone. And I hate to say it. You got to invest more resources on defense. Exactly. I hate to say it. I love Laporta, but you got Gibbs you got to worry about. You got Jack Campbell. You got, Brian Branch to worry about. You got a lot of people to worry about. And unfortunately, tight end is one of those positions you can get someone in the draft like him because he was not a first-round draft pick, and he can be, he can just fit right in.
It just sucks because it's nice to have so many weapons. Like, they've got two good receivers now. You still got Gibbs. You've got Laporta. It makes that offense, like, the weaponry just amazing. Yep. But on the defensive side of the ball, outside a couple players, it gets really thin once a couple guys get hurt, and then the defensive efficiency is really fallen off the last couple of years, especially with the injuries. And that's just not going to get it done. If you're having to play shootouts with Goff, you're probably going to be a 9-win team again. 8 to 9 wins. That's like, if they don't figure out the defensive side of the ball and they let Anzalone go, Amik Robinson, you lost your edge rusher, Muhammad. The problem is you guys already had depth issues. That, to me, outside of the offensive line, needs to be a heavy focus in this draft. And I feel like the problem is you've got a lot of guys coming up for big deals. But I kind of wanted Detroit to focus on that more in the offseason. So we're gonna see what happens.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to bring up, because you said last year, like you said that the Green Bay's defense, that the defensive line was their strong point. To me, watching Green Bay last year, the biggest thing that I took from their defense was that linebacker core. Like, the speed of that linebacker core from Green Bay. I wish that Detroit had that level of linebackers to be able to get on that ball as fast as Green Bay did, because that was impressive to me. Like, that linebacker core from Green Bay, I think, was one of the strongest in the league. And I wish Detroit would, in this draft, you're talking about defense, I was okay with Anzalone going because he's getting a little bit older. He's a little bit slower. They kept on trying to put him into coverage. It doesn't work. He's too damn slow. We need some speed at linebacker, and we're not getting it from, obviously from Jack Campbell. He's a good run stop. He's decently fast, you know what I mean? But you're not going to drop him into coverage. And we had Matthew from Don't Know Grid on last week, and he was talking about that, about the direction that they're going. He feels that they're going to switch up their entire defense coming up this year and run a whole different scheme by the way that they're making moves and stuff like that. So we'll have to wait and see. I agree with you, Jason, by the way. Cody, how do you feel about the moves that Detroit has made so far this season? And do you feel good about it, or do you feel like we're still lacking a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely still lacking. I mean, obviously, defense is going to be the number one thing we have to look at. I honestly kind of like the idea of changing up the scheme on defense. Maybe we just need a change to kind of boost ourselves back up to where we were. I know injuries happen all over the league, and I've had a couple conversations, but I just feel like the Lions are one team that have had way too many injuries. So I don't know if you have to look at coaching and strength and conditioning coaches and kind of figure out what we're doing behind the scenes. But yeah, I mean, defense we really need to step up on, and I'm hoping that we can make the playoffs, because that was not good, not making the playoffs, and I'm hoping we're not on a decline already and our window's shrinking.
Honestly, I don't think that the window's shrinking yet. Like, we have to wait and see what they field this year. Like, I don't feel that good. Just like Isaac said, he doesn't feel that great about what Green Bay's done in this offseason, but he still feels like they're going to be a playoff team. The problem is that the North is so tough.
There you go.
Currently,
go.
It's one of the strongest divisions in the league. Dealing with Green Bay, dealing with Chicago, Minnesota. Isaac brought up they're not going to be much this year. You don't really have to worry much about Minnesota. But then again, I've said this many a times, and Isaac, do you agree with me? This Minnesota's always been a very quarterback friendly program. You could almost throw anybody into that program.
If Murray plays well, that's going to be a tough team. They lost a lot on defense, but if they have just decent quarterback play, they could be tough. If either JJ figures it out or Murray fits in perfectly there, they do have O'Connell. Yes, still have Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and TJ Hawkinson. That's that even to me exceeds what Detroit has, which is pretty crazy. All they got to do is get decent quarterback play, and you've got Jordan Mason. He's not bad. That right there, decent quarterback play would be worth a couple of wins at least. But they have the same problem that y'all do. I like their defensive coordinator, so I like that. But Minnesota lost a lot of pieces on defense. Well, I don't know about in the NFC North. I think the Rams and Seahawks lie in the NFC. There's some damn good teams in the NFC, unfortunately. The North needs to kind of play catch up. I'm tired of seeing the West be the division. I'd like to catch up to them, honestly.
Well, I mean, honestly, if you look at record, I think the NFC North was probably one of the strongest divisions in the league last year. They just all beat the shit out of each other, so it made them look weak. You know what I mean?
That in the West, other than the Cardinals, those two divisions are. You can almost ignore, frankly, the East, other than maybe Philly, but I don't know about them. And the South, it's pretty much the North and the NFC West. That's what's crazy. Jason, I love Jason's comment. I have some Chiefs friends, and I'm like, I think you guys are done, and I think they're not going to make the playoffs. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs a second year in a row. I think their window's over. I really do.
I love this guy right now.
Travis Kelce's coming back.
He's a bum.
He's not a bum. He's coming back. Travis Kelce.
He's getting married this year, so it's going to go downhill.
No.
He's going to plant his seed, and he's going to forget all about football.
No, he's not forgetting. He just signed another 3-year contract. That guy's going to play till he's 80.
He's going to rip his ACL off.
You better watch your fucking tone right now. Anyways, Isaac. So now when we start talking about, the NFC North in general anyways, strength of schedule, do you think that benefits the Lions this year?
Ooh. Yeah, but... seriously, man, the Lions, what they need is they got to protect Goff. And you guys are right. They've had a lot of injuries on defense, but it's like the Packers. They have a lot of injuries at receiver every year. They have certain positions that just get banged up on their roster. So at some point, the Lions have got to figure this injury crap out. I think so. I do. I do wonder if your guys' window is closed a little, though. Goff's getting older. You guys have the weapons on offense. When are things going to get easier? The division's just getting harder and harder. Look at the Bears now with Caleb and Ben Johnson. The Packers have Micah Parsons, and he's going to come back. And then when we had him, we're scary. So, what are the Lions going to do to crack that door back open and actually take advantage and get to the Super Bowl? Like, I feel like they're a step behind right now.
Yeah.
No, and I'm not loving my team's prospects. We get Micah back. I think the defense is scary. I like Jordan Love, but we've got questions at receiver. We've got issues and at corner.
See, I honestly think you guys let the best quarterback in the North go to Miami. So, to be honest, because I liked him.
I liked him too, but you had to keep Love. Like he was,
you paid him a bunch of money.
Yeah, and when he's healthy, he was pretty damn good last year. Honestly,
he was.
He really was. Like I mean, he played pretty damn well.
Yeah, we've had this discussion before. Do you feel like he's that franchise QB that's going to carry you guys to the top?
I think he could be. I just like to actually see him with some weapons. Can you imagine him with Detroit's receiver and tight end room? Like our best player in that area is Tucker Kraft, and he's coming off an ACL. These receivers, to me, are scrubs compared to what Minnesota, Detroit, and Chicago have. I'd love to see it, but I do want to see some consistency. But to be honest, I have big issues with Matt LaFleur. I'm not a huge Goody fan, our GM, and I think our receiver room is by far and away the worst receiver room in the NFC North. It's not awful, but it's like a gap like the ocean. Like, I would love the Packers to take a swing and get A.J. Brown or something. Maybe Matthew Golden pans out, but the guys they have, to me, they don't have a one. I'm not even sure if they have a number two because Christian Watson's made of glass. So, yeah. He really is. And we always have one or two guys injured or three in our receiver room. Our receiver room is like Detroit's defense. It's always banged up.
Yeah,
so,
and that's and it goes to say, like, which one's worse? You know what I mean? Like,
for real. Like our receivers and our cornerbacks, I feel like are always banged up. It's pretty funny, and we always seem to need more of them. And then Detroit's entire defense is just like on a guillotine. It's terrible. They're just always. It's like The Walking Dead. That's what our receiver room feels like. I actually don't disagree with that statement. I think Patrick Mahomes is past his prime.
Hey,
but
I said in there, Josh Allen's playoff record against the Chiefs says otherwise. And I'm saying that right now. And of course, my wife comes off keywords in the playoffs because Scott's playing in my wife now in the chats because my wife loves Josh Allen and his squishy cheeks. Like, she loves Josh Allen. So now he's playing into her. And now he's going to cause an argument between me and my wife when I go upstairs because I like Josh Allen, but he's not no fucking Patrick Mahomes. That's all I'm saying. I don't want to hear it from anybody. Scott?
He's better.
Scott, you're going to cause arguments between me and my wife.
Let's see Mahomes actually get back to the playoffs. That'd be good.
He's going to get back there. It's only a matter of time. It's
maybe in a couple of years.
He's going to snap.
I think they got to retool a lot of things in Kansas City.
They do.
And it happened with New England. They had to retool. They won a few rings. They went out and got Randy Moss. They almost won one, but then they had to retool the roster. So, Scott, that's funny. But yeah, man, I don't know. I think Detroit. Maybe they surprise and win like 11 games this year, but it's only going to happen if the defense takes a step up and the offensive line. Otherwise, I think they're like an 8-9 win team. I think the window might have closed on them. And Minnesota, Green Bay, it's going to come down to when Micah's healthy, and they're going to need Tucker Kraft, and they're going to need some young guys to step up. And Chicago's going to need that defense to actually play better because they can't keep playing with fire like they did last year, where they try to come back on everybody. I don't think that's a recipe for success. So I think it's going to be a really interesting season. The draft is going to be huge, man. It's going to play a really big factor for all four teams. I think there's going to be a big trade with at least one of them, though. I really do.
I think so, too. Cody, what do you feel Detroit needs to do in the draft first round?
We got to get a tackle. Like you guys have all said, we got to protect Goff. because I feel like when Goff has any sort of pressure, he just forgets how to throw the ball and either throws it at the ground or way over people's heads. He's got the weapons. So I think if we can get a decent tackle at 17, then you take it. If not, I mean, I think trading Sam Laporta and moving up will also help us in different ways. So I don't know. I think, like you guys said, Brad Holmes has done crazier things. So who knows? He might be able to find that diamond in the rough at 17, or he might trade everybody or trade Laporta and move up and get that guy that we need. But yeah, definitely protect Goff. I think that'll help us win games, and that'll kind of put the ease of the pressure and everything on the defense to kind of figure things out, and hopefully gel well both offensively and defensively.
Eric?
You draft a running back, just like we did with good. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Fuck up,
I'm just kidding. You gotta get a tackle. You need a tackle for sure. If you got to trade up or trade back for him, reality, I think there's some really good tackles, and I don't think they're going to be there at 17. So you might have to say bye to Laporta and get up there and maybe get another player for him and get your pick you want. But you need a tackle. That's where you're at. You need offensive line. You got to protect Goff. He can't take hits like he did this year because you already seen what it does. Granted, his numbers were pretty good, but he needs protection, and he's getting older. And yeah.
No, I'm right there with you, Jason. As we're talking through all this, you're just sitting back quiet because obviously it's not MLB, it's NFL, and I know MLB is your thing, which we'll plug a show coming out here this Thursday here pretty soon. But I can't say that NFL's not your thing because you follow NFL just as much as I do. But I just wanted to get a little plug for a little show coming up to build the hype. But Jason, how do you feel about the offseason moves with the Lions so far? Where they're sitting, what they need to do, kind of everything we've been talking about. You've been quiet. I want to hear your input on all this. And I want to hear your input about the chats because right now my wife and Scott are going back and forth. And I don't know if it's a negative thing for me later or if it's a positive thing. I'm really confused. But I think Scott's real close to having my wife convinced to take a Mahomes jersey down.
Yes.
And put an Allen jersey up. But she also has a Mahomes jersey, Scott. So, Jason.
Listen, I've been quiet because I've been sitting here listening to you guys break all this down because you pay attention to this portion of the NFL, this part of the NFL, way closer than I do. I am in agreement, number one, that we need to get a tackle. We need to protect Jared Goff. That has to be a thing. That has to actually be priority one in my view. And I think we're all in agreement with that. Overall, the offseason has been meh. Like nothing has transpired where I'm like, well, that's a game changer, or that's going to be something that's going to make a significant step towards the Super Bowl. But I'm also optimistic, and I believe that we have to wait and see how things fall into place, and a lot of question marks are going to be answered with the draft coming up, and that's why once we know who we're drafting and we know kind of what we're looking at, then we can sit here and be like, all right, this is where the armchair quarterback concept comes into play. But as I've been listening to you guys, and much respect to all of you because you guys, like I said, you really dive in and pay attention to the inner workings here, and I really appreciate that contribution to the show. I'm over here just thinking about popping off, and I'm kind of pulling myself back from the edge, if I can be honest with you. But at the end of the day, yes, we do have a very special bonus show that is going to be coming up here this Thursday night, as a matter of fact, when our good friend Vinny from Just Another Sports Fan is going to be joining me for an all MLB bonus edition of the Sports Reel podcast this Thursday beginning at 7 p.m. right here where you are watching or listening to the Sports Reel podcast on the PFC Entertainment Network. I will make mention real quick. Well, first we'll put a bow on the NFL talk. We will recap real quickly what the Tigers did last week, what they're looking at this week, and then Tim's golf report. So, is there anything else that we need to talk about to put a bow on the NFL portion of
Real
the
quick,
program?
I wanted Isaac drafts coming up. You're a Packers fan. What do you want to see out of the draft? What do you want to see them do?
If they don't freaking trade the pick, which I'm okay with, I want to see them go get some corner depth, some receiver depth, or an edge rusher. I actually am starting to think that they might take a running back in the third or fourth round too, because they let Emmanuel Wilson go, their backup, and they still have Brooks, but he's not that great. He's okay, and they're relying on the kid who's played 7 snaps in 2 years, Marshawn Lloyd. He's made he's less durable than Christian Watson or the Lions defense, and that's saying something. So, yeah, they need some depth at running back. So I'm thinking that here's the positions I'm predicting with their picks. They've got, I had to pull it up 1 second. Here we go. Okay, they've got number 52 overall in the second round, late second rounder. They got a late third rounder. They got a late fourth. They got 2 late fifths. They got a late sixth, and they got a mid seventh and a late seventh. So they've got, 8 picks. I'm expecting a running back, a receiver. I'm expecting 2, maybe 3, probably let's say 2 offensive linemen, so that's 4. And then I'm expecting probably 2 cornerbacks and 2 edge rushers. Maybe you toss in a QB in there somewhere because they did let Malik Willis go. There was rumors about Anthony Richardson. I wouldn't be shocked if that actually happened on draft night. There's going to be some player trades. A.J. Brown might not happen till June, wherever he goes, because of the salary cap implications with Philly. But that's Goody, the Packers GM, likes to load up on multiple guys at a position. So I'm expecting at least 2 offensive linemen, and they lost Inagabre. This is where they lost some serious depth, and Rashawn Gary. So I'm expecting them to go get at least 1 edge rusher, if not 2, and then they'll probably load up at cornerback as well.
Rock on.
Yeah, and I'm hoping if they hit on these picks, even just 2 or 3, we're in decent shape. I think we'll be fine. We had, other than edge, we had a lot of depth at most of those positions. So yeah.
I know Amy said in the chat, she said the Packers need everything, a new team, all new players. I don't think that's true, honey. I love you. She's had a lot of Cosmos already, so she's enjoying
I love
life.
that your wife watches the show. See, that's a great thing. They need all new players. Is your wife a Lions fan?
Well, she's a Lions fan, but she's also a Bills fan. She's also a Chiefs fan. But she's mostly a Bills fan because she's.
I'm gonna go at your wife in the comments.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we do need a championship, but so do the Bills. The Bills need a championship too. Yeah, we're right there with you. Other than that, yeah, let's Jason, cap out the MLB real quick so we can get into the golf report, because I got to talk some golf, and I know Cody probably wants to talk some golf also because he was texting me during this tournament this past weekend. So let's cap out the week of the MLB.
MLB. Yes, thank you, Tim. Appreciate that. Let's take
ML beer.
Let's take a look at what the Tigers did last week, up and down. I mean, it's pretty funny as we embark here on the MLB.
You're doing it now. Hell yeah. MLB.
ML beer.
You ever had these beatboxes? Like they're packs a little bit of a punch. I'm not gonna lie. All right. Last week, the Twins kicked the shit out of the Detroit Tigers, if I can be honest with you. Tuesday, a 4-3 win. Wednesday, an 8-6 win. Thursday, a 3-1 win. Twins dominating the Tigers. Although the Tigers did, try to keep it close. But, I mean, from play to play, man, the Minnesota Twins just had their number in this series. But the Detroit Tigers were able to rebound and pretty much did to the Miami Marlins what the Twins had done to us. Picked up a win, a 2-0 win on Friday, a 6-1 domination on Saturday, and then 8-2 win on Sunday. Now this week, here tonight, they start a 3-game series with the Kansas City Royals at home here at Comerica Park. And then Friday, they start a 4-game series in Boston against the Red Sox, which will culminate or conclude on Monday night. So that's what the Tigers did this week. Like I said, up and down. It's still very early in the season, but one more time, Vinny and I are going to be breaking all this down on Thursday night, beginning at 7 p.m. right here on the PFC Network, when the Sports Reel podcast presents Ball Game, all MLB talk for about an hour and a half. So we're looking forward to that. With that, let's go over and switch gears. There it is. And
Waiting for it.
I know you are.
It's that time of the show. It'll be sweet and short. Here's Tim Sheridan with the 2.5 goals scored.
This is Tim's 2 Minutes Golf Talk, brought to you by the Sports Reel podcast on the PFC Entertainment Network.
Where'd Eric go?
Eric, it's golf. Eric's gone. He's fucking gone. But anyways, we had the Masters this past weekend, which was huge. Before I even get into the results, because it was the Masters, Isaac, I know you follow a little bit of golf.
Rory!
Yeah.
That was sweet.
Yeah.
What a way to do it, man.
Only the 4th player ever to win a
It's Tiger,
Masters
too.
back to
25
back.
years. Yeah.
And one hell of a tournament, I have to say. 36 holes. He had the highest lead in Masters history after 36 holes, and he finished this tournament winning it at the same exact score that he was at after Friday, 12 under. It was crazy. Cody, you were texting me through this thing. You watched the Masters. What'd you think of the Masters?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it. I honestly really got into it from pretty much you talking about it all the time. Even my fiance is like, I've never seen you watch golf. I'm like, hey, I got to see what happens and kind of talk about it and everything. But yeah, I mean, when I texted you and I saw that Rory was in the lead, I'm like, uh-oh. And then I texted you again when I saw that he I think it was 3rd place he was in for a while.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that kind of, switched really quick. But yeah, I mean, he stayed top 3, and I was looking for Scotty Scheffler, and he came from out of nowhere.
Yeah, Saturday he started
top
making a
5,
run.
I think.
He finished second.
Second, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's really cool to see somebody win it back to back. I feel like it, as a guy that doesn't watch golf, I feel like that would kind of happen more often, but I guess not.
It hasn't happened since 01-02 with Tiger. So Tiger was the last one to do it in 01-02. Isaac, you follow golf. I'm sure you watched the Masters. How'd you feel about the Masters, the whole tournament? Rory winning it 2nd time in a row. It was an incredible thing. And my wife was cheering on Rory all weekend because not only is she a Josh Allen fan because of his squishy cheeks, she's also a Rory fan because of his squishy cheeks. But what did you think of the Masters? How'd you feel about the tournament? I think it was one of the best ones personally, and I'll get into it in a minute. But how did you feel about it?
I was following it, but I was actually out of town with friends. Well, it's a long story, but it was my birthday weekend, and I was following it on my phone. I didn't get to really watch a lot of it, but I read all about it after. I love how Rory makes things harder on himself. He shanks on the 18th hole on the last round. He carried a lead, or at least tied for the lead every day, but he made it. It's like he had to do it the hard way. But you gotta love it that this guy. I'm wondering if he can three-peat. I feel like his game is really conducive to that course, and I love the mental resilience to come back after 10 years without a major. He won all those early in his career, and now he's up to 6 total majors. I did a bunch of research after because I was mad I missed it. Next year I'll be in Arizona, unless I have a new lady or something. Even if I do, I'm gonna make sure to make it a priority. But I went out of town and had a really nice weekend and caught a little bit of it, but I'm impressed that he was able to do this because that is got to be that to me is it's harder than like going back to back in the NFL or the NBA. As crazy as that sounds, just like look at it's only been done 4 times. You've had more repeat champs in NBA, NFL, NHL, MLB. It's harder to repeat at the Masters. So I love that he's in the ranks of history now. I love that he did it beating Scotty, who he's had problems with in the past. And he's one of my favorite golfers, so I'm happy for him. I hope he can three-peat next year. I think it's going to be, can you imagine the ratings, guys, if he's leading after 36 holes in 2027 April? The whole sports world is going to go nuts if this guy actually has a chance to three-peat next year. That's going to be crazy. It'd be like not quite to the level if Tiger made a comeback and was in it, but it would be like the next best thing for golf if he's in it after 36 holes.
Well, and that's huge. A lot of people who don't watch golf don't understand it, but nobody winning 2 in a row is huge. There's 4. Nobody has ever three-peated at the Masters. And you brought up his game is really well or goes really well with the Masters. That's the one thing a lot of people don't understand about the Masters. When you're trying to pick somebody to win this thing, it usually takes quite a few years to figure out Augusta. And it's one of those courses that when you're making a pick somebody who plays well here, because not everybody plays well at Augusta. You know what I mean? You're going to have top names. I think Scotty's won it twice now. Rory's won it twice now. You know what I mean? These are names that are still, and both of them, I mean, Scotty is still super young, and I thought he was going to make a comeback. Cody brought that up. He started coming back on Saturday. He came out of nowhere because he started out, I think he was in 38th place. And he worked his way all the way up to 2nd. And if Rory on that last hole, when you were talking about he shanked it on 18 and put it into the woods, and then he put it into the bunker, I mean, there was a good chance right there that thing could have went off to a playoff with Scotty, and Rory's driver was not working for him all weekend long. If you look at the stats of this thing, it was crazy. Out of 92 golfers, the 92nd golfer for driver statistics finished at 92nd. The 91st golfer for driver statistics won the thing. So Rory's driver was not working for him all weekend long, and neither were his irons on Friday, because I watched this thing all the way through, or even Saturday. His irons, he was missing everything to the left with his irons, he was missing everything to the right with his driver, and he still just battled through this thing and stayed in it. Now the first 2 days he was in control of everything. You know what I mean? We talked about that. He finished with the largest spread after 36 holes, in a 6-stroke
and
lead.
Didn't Scotty do something crazy where he played bogey free or something? There was something that he did
bogey free Saturday and Sunday.
Scotty played bogey free on the back 18, which you think would win it. And I don't play much golf. It's something I'd like to get more into, but I've had this nerdy card game, and I lift, and I've been doing some other cardio. Golf is such a mental game. The fact that Scotty was the guy coming up, the fact that Rory had the mental aptitude to be able to block that out and pull this off, it must have been some pressure. It was obviously last year over getting his first one, completing the career Grand Slam. That was probably harder. But the fact that Scotty was coming up and it was Scotty Scheffler, I'm so impressed that he was able to get it together on 18 and finish it.
Yeah, it was crazy. Now, I want to get into the results of this thing. Obviously, we've been talking about Rory McIlroy won this thing at 12 under. Scotty Scheffler got to 11 under, after leading into Saturday in 38th place. You know what I mean? That's pretty impressive. We had a 4-way tie at 3rd with Terrell Hatton, Justin Rose, who's another name there that has been hanging out at the Masters. He's 45 years old now. He's been close so many times. Last year, he went into the playoff with Rory to lose this thing to Rory, and that was Rory's first win. But, I mean, he was hanging on. At some point on Sunday, Rose was leading this thing, but he fell back off a little bit. And then we had Cam the Hammer Young, who came out of nowhere and was leading this thing on Sunday also. And I was kind of rooting him on. You know what I mean? The Hammer was playing pretty good. So that's another name we have to look out for last year, because he's starting to figure out Augusta. And then we had Henley also tied for 3rd, and tied for 7th. We had Burns, Morikawa, That's another name we got to watch out for next year. Morikawa's figuring this thing out, and so is Sam Burns. Sam Burns led this thing at one point, and then we had Max Homa and Xander Schauffele tied for 9th, and then honorable mention, because I've been doing it all season long, Brooks Koepka finished 12th here. He always plays pretty decent at the Masters. My pick, Bryson DeChambeau, who I thought was going to win this thing, did not even make the cut. Yeah, Scott, I don't want to hear it, you motherfucker. It's the Masters week. It's always longer when it's a major. But, that was one hell of a Masters. I was excited about it. It was probably the best major that I've watched in quite a while. Rory winning it for the second time. Big props to him. I'm really hoping next year he can go on and win this thing a third time in a row and be the first golfer to ever do it. Because, he's already going to be in the history books. He's one of the greatest golfers to ever do it. But if he wins this for a third time, he'll do something that no other golfer has ever done in history. And I think he deserves that feat. So I'm going to get behind him next year to win this thing. Other than that, we're looking at the RBC Heritage coming up next week. I don't know if Rory's playing in this thing. Usually he takes some time off after, winning a big tournament, but I know that Scotty's going to be in it. My pick's Scotty to win it after playing hot at the Masters. So that's what we're looking at. Cody, did you have anything? Yes.
Do you think Scotty gets the career Grand Slam? I know it's further down the line, but I'm going to be moving at the end of May, and I don't know how much I'll be on pods this summer. So I've got a question. Do you think Scotty wins the U.S. Open, or and gets his career Grand Slam? Because he's won the Masters twice. He's got the PGA. He's got the Open. Do you think he finishes that career Grand Slam this summer? He's turning 30, or do you think Rory or somebody else wins it?
It's a hard one to say because he just had that second child. You know what I mean? So his time's been he hasn't been playing as strong this year. Now the Masters, like I said, Augusta's different. Certain guys play well there, but other than that, he's already got a win on tour this season. I think he might have 2 already, actually. So he started out playing pretty hot, and then he kind of fell off as it was getting closer to his child being born. So I'm gonna have to see how he leads up.
Yeah, he won the American Express. He finished tied for 12th at the Genesis, and then he got second in this term. So honestly, it's not a bad year so far for him.
He's still ranked.
It's Scotty though. We're used to him winning majors, so yeah, he's got 3 more. I'm gonna be surprised if he doesn't win one major this year. As good of a player as he is, maybe Brooks Koepka or somebody, or Xander, somebody else comes on and wins the other one. We'll see.
I think Cam Young is going to be another one that's named this year, but I think
I like him too.
Yeah, Scotty this year, as long as he doesn't get arrested before the U.S. Open, I think he'll be good to go. Before we leave, Tim's 2 minutes to golf. Cody, do you have anything to add to this?
The only thing I'm going to add is I think I'm going to watch a lot more golf now.
It's fun, isn't it?
Talk about it. Yeah.
It's so much fun.
I got into it a little bit, but now that I know the names that I should be looking at and some of the names to come up, I think I'm going to be into golf more.
Rock on.
It's
Eric,
such a fun sport when it's close to Tim. It's when it's close on Sunday, man. It's so much fun. And to me, the Masters, I love the other ones. The British is awesome. I love it. I'm going to be watching that this year. But the Masters is just something special about it, man. It really is.
It's almost like
such a great tournament. It really is. The Open's close, and I've always liked the U.S. Open, but the British Open's my second favorite by a mile. But there's something. The Masters is just special, and it's the first one. It's just it's the Super Bowl golf.
Yeah, and
that's why when Tiger came back and won it, it was such an event.
Oh yeah, 19. Eric, do you have anything to add before we end this?
Cody, you're saying you're going to pay attention to golf more because you know the names. I listen to this 2 minutes bull crap every week. I still don't know the names.
He's like, woo, what's this guy? What's his name? I got one more.
Watch it. If I can sit down and watch it, it's great. But if I'm busy, just
have a couple beers.
Yeah, then I want to do yard work or I want to do something else. You're motivated to go do something, not sit on the couch.
Because you're always leaving the 2 minute.
Wait, I got one. I know I'm extending the show. I've got a question for all of you guys. Do you think there's any chance we see Tiger playing professionally again at a high level ever?
No, he's got to fucking prioritize his health and not crashing cars, even though it's hilarious.
Yeah. So I'll have something to answer this. If we ever see him healthy again, playing at a high level, it will be at Augusta. He plays Augusta
what I
like
think,
nobody
too.
else. You know what I mean?
I still like can't rule him out. He did it once. I think
Yeah.
if he gets his knees right, like in a couple of years, maybe he. The problem is there's so many good golfers now that would take a lot, but it's hard to rule Tiger out. That with that win in 19, it just like lurks in the back of your mind. What if he gets right? You know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just
feel you.
curious.
I feel you. But anyways, I'm gonna wrap this thing out. I know Jason's got to go to work. So that was Tim's 2 minutes of golf talk.
I was like 10.
Brought to you by the Sports Reel Podcast.
Sorry, I extended that so much.
No, you're all good. On a programming note, I do need to add next week, April 21st, we're going to have the 411 podcast. So we're going to have Keith and CB joining us once again to talk a little bit more football, leading right into that draft there. So give me another action-packed Lions week heading into that draft. So I look forward to that one. I can't wait to have them on. Jason, do you have anything to add to anything?
Yep, we invite you to check out the online store over at pfcsportsreel.printify.me. All things Sports Reel podcast on every conceivable piece of merchandise that you can think of: hats, hoodies, t-shirts, floor mats, bed sheets, like you name it, it's on there. Oh yeah, you can get a thong with Eric Mendal's face on it.
Oh,
if you
do not
believe
do
it.
that. Do not do that. I always want those fucking sandals out of my hand. That's all I want.
Oh, I just got a graphic for next week's show with your sandals in your hand, so you're gonna love it.
All right, then this Thursday at 7 p.m. right here on the PFC Entertainment Network, Vinny and I are going to be breaking all things down around the world of Major League Baseball. So looking forward to that this Thursday, 7 p.m. With that, we appreciate you, Cody and Isaac, for being on the show with us this week. We look forward to next week. We look forward to all of you. Go out, be awesome to yourselves and to each other. We will see you next week right here on the Sports Reel Podcast, live on the PFC Entertainment Network.
Let's go Pistons!
Red Wings, get your head out of your ass.
Pistons NBA Finals.
Yeah. Zach, I don't want to hear your shit.